Well, Father David Ross is in, and he's been reading this book. It's called Anointed. There's a longer title, it looks like.
Well, you know, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
It's a good book. It's a good book. I picked it up a few weeks ago, and it's my evening enjoyment when I sit down at night, you know, with a Pepsi or something like that, or something else. But but I read this book. It's a good book because it brought to mind some of my prejudices, and at the same time, some things that I really don't consider. The title of the book is Anointed, but the subtitle has more merit, I think. The extraordinary events of social status in a winner-take-most world.
Most.
And how interesting I find that to be the case. So, for example, we take these mental shortcuts throughout life. So we succumb to social pressure, we have habits of thought, we succumb to commercial pressure. But Toby Stewart, who wrote this book, he's a professor somewhere out in California, UC Berkeley, I believe. And again, as we were talking before the show, when you're in the realm of academia, you either publish or perish, which means you have to publish every so often or you lose your job or something like that. But he's got a full professorship, I'm pretty sure, so he didn't really have to write this. But what he brought to mind was this. We tend to defer to a category of people, to what he referred to as the big shift. The big shift is, we do this as a society. The value of something today is tied to the identity of a person rather than the organization or its merit. So, for example, you go to a doctor's office and you see all these wonderful degrees on the wall. You're presuming the guy is a fantastic surgeon or something. Well, he may have only got C's in school or something like that, but you presume that. Or what we tend to do is, as individuals, we'll see somebody, some sports figure, advertising something. We say, well, then it must be good. We never stop to think the big bucks the guy's getting paid to do that, and maybe he hasn't even tried them out at all, those shoes or whatever it may be. So the anointed, though, help us overcome life's uncertainties in three ways. First of all, they dictate what we can consume, what we should consume. For example, as I just said, sports and movie stars tell us what to buy and why to buy it, even though they may themselves have not even tried it. Secondly, they guide our behavior in social situations. So we have these social hierarchies that are very clear and enforced. So the anointed do what they want to do. The anointed do what they want to do, but they establish standards for the rest of us. So, for example, I like to think about this in these days. The anointed are people who've got social status. Now, have you noticed the tendency, not only in social media, but it's moved to the mainstream media as well, that rather than today talking about a topic, what we tend to do is attack another person.
Yes.
And what we tend to do is we attack the other person, we think it gains us credibility. But what's happening is, in some circles, people don't want to see all that stuff because it's more opinion than it is news. But when we start attacking other people, it creates the expectation in the culture that that's an acceptable kind of behavior. And so we begin this divisive, we're creating this divisive atmosphere. The anointed, thirdly, allocate resources within a group. So they eat first. Now, I have to tell you, people do this to me. When I go to all these funeral luncheons, or I go to, Father, you're going up there first. No, I'll be happy to stay in the back. Please go up first. But what are you having, steak? Oh, yeah, I'll go up first or something like that. No, I would never do that. But what happens is they take what they want. People who are the anointed take what they want. Now, this isn't fair. This isn't fair at all, we will say, because it should not be upon a person's identity, but because of merit. But there have been some research to show what happens when we do this. So, for example, researchers sent out some resumes for job openings, and half of them used white-sounding names like Molly Smith or James Baker. Other half used black-sounding names like Tyrone Washington or Shanice Robinson. Now, the contents of the resumes were exactly the same, exactly the same in both. But the white names were called back more, 50% more than the black names. You see, what we do is we classify people in this identity in our culture right now. So the anointed, though, can in turn anoint others. So, for example, if you get an Oscar for a movie or something like that, you can be sure that more people are going to go see that movie than if you didn't get an Oscar. Yep. So I like this book because it gives me some insights into things I would not have otherwise ventured into. But what he says, Toby says at the end, he says what's going to change all this is the whole notion of AI. It's going to bring to the surface truth that we would not have known otherwise, and algorithms will be created to assist us in this whole venture. I just find it a fascinating book, Chris.
That does sound fascinating.
I would recommend it to people who. It's an easy read too.
Yeah,
it's an easy read.
Makes you realize things about yourself. So
it does,
yeah,
about the way I
very
identify with people.
Yeah. Well, Father, thank you so much for coming on today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, don't go away. Noon Edition continues.